2009. A Tangled Tale by Lewis Carroll. Chapter 15. Answers to Knot 5. Problem: to mark pictures, giving 3 crosses to 2 or 3, 2 to 4 or 5, and 1 to 9 or 10. Also giving 3 oughts to 1 or 2, 2 to 3 or 4, and 1 to 8 or 9, so as to mark the smallest possible number of pictures, and to give them the largest possible number of marks. Answer: 10 pictures, 29 marks. Arranged thus in a 3 by 10 matrix. The first row has crosses in the first 9 columns, and an ought in the 10th column. The second row has crosses in the first 5 columns, an empty entry in the 6th column, and oughts in columns 7 to 10. The third row has crosses in the first 2 columns, and oughts in the last 8 columns. Solution: by giving all the crosses possible, putting into brackets the optional ones, we get 10 pictures marked thus in a 3 by 10 matrix. The first row has crosses in all columns. The cross in the last column is put in brackets. The second row has crosses in the first 5 columns. The last cross is put in brackets, and the columns 6 to 10 are empty. The third row has crosses in the first 3 columns. The last cross is put in brackets, and the columns 4 to 10 are empty. By then assigning oughts in the same way, beginning at the other end, we get 9 pictures, marked thus in a 3 by 9 matrix. The first row starts with 7 empty columns, has an ought put in brackets in the 8th column, and an ought in the 9th column. The second row starts with 5 empty columns, has an ought put in brackets in the 6th column, and oughts in columns 7 to 9. The third row has 9 oughts. The ought in the first column is put in brackets. All we have now to do is to run these 2 wedges as close together as they will go, so as to get the minimum number of pictures, erasing optional marks whereby so doing we can run them closer, but otherwise letting them stand. There are 10 necessary marks in the first row and in the third, but only 7 in the second. Hence, we erase all optional marks in the first and third rows, but let them stand in the second. 22 answers have been received. Of these, 11 give no working, so, in accordance with what I announced in my last review of answers, I leave them unnamed, merely mentioning that 5 are right and 6 wrong. Of the 11 answers with which some working is supplied, 3 are wrong. CH begins with the rash assertion that under the given conditions the sum is impossible, for, he or she adds, these initialed correspondents are dismally vague beings to deal with. Perhaps it would be a better pronoun. 10 is the least possible number of pictures. Granted. Therefore we must either give 2 crosses to 6 or 2 oughts to 5. Why must, O alphabetical phantom? It is nowhere ordained that every picture must have 3 marks. Fifi sends a folio page of solution, which deserved a better fate. She offers 3 answers, in each of which 10 pictures are marked, with 30 marks. In one she gives 2 crosses to 6 pictures, in another to 7. In the third she gives 2 oughts to 5. Thus in every case ignoring the conditions. I pause to remark that the condition 2 crosses to 4 or 5 pictures can only mean either to 4 or else to 5. If, as one competitor holds, it might mean any number not less than 4, the words or 5 would be superfluous. IEA, I am happy to say that none of these bloodless phantoms appear this time in the class list. Is it idea with a D left out? Gives 2 crosses to 6 pictures. She then takes me to task for using the word ought instead of not. No doubt, to one who thus rebels against the rules laid down for her guidance, the word must be distasteful. But does not IEA remember the parallel case of adder? That creature was originally a nadder. Then the two words took to bandying the poor N backwards and forwards like a shuttlecock, the final state of the game being an adder. May not a nought have similar become an ought? Anyhow, oughts and crosses is a very old game. I don't think I ever heard it called noughts and crosses. In the following class list, I hope the solitary occupant of 3 will sheathe her claws when she hears how narrow an escape she has had of not being named at all. Her account of the process by which she got the answer is so meagre that, like the nursery tale of Jack a Minory, I trust IEA will be merciful to the spelling, it is scarcely to be distinguished from 0. Class list. First, Guy, Old Cat, Sea Breeze. Second, Eyre, Bradshaw of the Future, F. Lee, H. Vernon. Third, Cat. End of chapter 15.